Attitude is Everything for Success. Say It, Believe It, Receive It, by Keith D. Harrell. Introduction. Imagine the scene. It's the 1992 Olympics. The stadium is roaring. The 400-meter race is underway, and a young British runner named Derek Redmond is a favorite to win. He's powerful, he's fast, and he's leading the pack. And then, the unthinkable happens. A sharp, searing pain shoots through the back of his right thigh. He collapses onto the track, his hamstring torn, his dream of an Olympic medal dissolving in an instant. For a moment, he lies there in agony, the other runners speeding past him. The race is over for him. But then, something shifts. Slowly, painfully, Derek gets back up. He has no hope of winning, not even of placing. But he begins to hobble, one agonizing step at a time, toward the finish line. The crowd, seeing this act of pure determination, rises to its feet. But he can't do it alone. From the stands, a man pushes past security guards, his face a mask of love and concern. It's his father, Jim. He rushes onto the track, puts his arm around his son, and together, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, they make their way down the track. Just before the end, Jim lets go, so Derek can cross the finish line on his own, to a thunderous standing ovation. Derek Redmond didn't win a medal that day, but he and his father taught the world a lesson far more valuable than gold. They taught us about persistence, about completion, and about the unstoppable power of love. What does this have to do with you? Everything. Because the same force that got Derek Redmond off that track and over the finish line is the same force that is available to you, every single day. It's the invisible engine that drives success, navigates failure, and shapes your reality. It's called attitude. And our guide on this journey is a man who understands this power intimately. Keith D. Harrell is a celebrated motivational speaker, a member of the Speaker Hall of Fame. But his journey didn't start on a grand stage. It started in quiet struggle. As a child, he was a tall, shy kid who stuttered so badly he could barely say his own name. Through the help of his mother and his therapists, and through an unwavering belief that he could overcome it, he transformed himself into one of the most powerful communicators in the world. In his book, Attitude is Everything for Success, Keith distills a lifetime of wisdom into a simple, powerful framework. He noticed that the most successful people he met all had something in common. They used a specific set of empowering words to shape their thinking and their actions. He collected 30 of these words, one for each day of the month, creating a mental toolkit for building a life of success. So, here is my promise to you. By the end of our time together, you won't just have a summary of a book. You will have a roadmap. A set of keys that can unlock the potential that already lives inside you. You'll learn the 3 simple steps he calls the key to success. Say it, believe it, and receive it. This isn't about theory. It's about transformation. So, let's begin. Book summary. At the heart of Keith Harrell's message is a single, profound truth. Your inner world creates your outer world. Before you can achieve anything, before you can build anything, before you can become anyone, you must first master the one thing you have complete control over, your attitude. This journey of mastery begins with a simple framework, the foundation for everything that follows. It's the mantra of the book: say it, believe it, receive it. Say it is about understanding the power of your words. The things you say to yourself and to others aren't just sounds, they are declarations that define your reality. If you tell yourself, "I never do anything right," after making a mistake, you're paving the way for the next failure. But if you say, "I learn something new from every experience," you turn that same mistake into a stepping stone. Believe it is about internalizing those words. It's about connecting your statements to a deep, unshakable conviction. The book teaches that belief is like a muscle. You strengthen it by recalling past victories, no matter how small, and using them as evidence that you are capable of great things. And finally, receive it is about acting as if you have already achieved your goal. It's about walking, talking, and carrying yourself with the confidence of the person you want to become. This isn't about being fake, it's about aligning your actions with your intentions, a practice Keith calls faking it till you make it. This three-part formula is the thread that weaves through all 30 of the key words in the book. So let's explore the most powerful of these words, not as a list, but as a story. The story of how you can build a successful life, from the inside out. Our story begins with the foundation, the power that lies within you. The master key, the very first word, is attitude. Keith defines it simply as your feeling or mindset about a person or situation. Life, he says, is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your attitude toward them. He suggests a simple but profound daily practice. The moment you wake up, before your feet even hit the floor, applaud the day. Clap your hands and thank God for another chance to live, to grow, to make a difference. By starting the day with this intentional act of positivity, you set the tone for everything that follows. But an attitude needs something to stand on. It needs a firm foundation. And that foundation is belief. Belief is the quiet confidence you have in yourself and in your abilities. Keith's own life is a testament to this. As a child, he was humiliated by classmates because he couldn't say his own name without stuttering. It was his speech therapists and his mother who first planted a seed of belief in him, telling him over and over that one day, he would speak with confidence. They couldn't transform him, but they gave him the tools. He was the one who had to transform himself, by taking their belief and making it his own. He trusted what they told him, and eventually, that shy, stuttering boy became a Hall of Fame speaker. This internal belief naturally builds our self-esteem, which is simply having a high regard for yourself. This isn't arrogance. Arrogance is thinking you're better than others. Self-esteem is knowing you are worthy, regardless of what others think. Keith shares a vulnerable story from his freshman year of college. His basketball team had a terrible season, winning only 5 games and losing 17. His whole identity was tied to being a winner, and for the first time, he felt like a loser. His confidence crumbled. He realized he had a choice: he could stay in that slump, or he could rebuild himself. He spent the summer practicing, working on the fundamentals, and focusing on the future. He took responsibility for his own comeback. He learned that self-esteem isn't built on a record of unbroken success, it's forged in the fire of setbacks, in the decision to get back up after you've been knocked down. And that brings us to the final pillar of our foundation: choice. The ability to choose is one of the most powerful gifts you have. Every day is a series of choices that either move you closer to your goals or further away. The book tells the story of a man named William, who had just gotten out of the Navy. He had 2 job offers. The first was to be a delivery truck driver. It paid well and had great benefits. The second was for a brand new, unproven field called emergency medical technician. It didn't pay well, and nobody knew if it would even last. But William's passion wasn't for delivering packages, it was for helping people. He got a thrill from the idea of saving lives. He chose the path of passion over the path of certainty, and he went on to live a deeply gratifying life as a paramedic. His story reminds us that the right choices are the ones that align with our deepest values. Once you've built this strong inner foundation of attitude, belief, self-esteem, and choice, you need an engine to turn your inner vision into outer reality. This is where we move from thought to action. Keith reminds us of a basic law of physics. A body in motion tends to stay in motion, and a body at rest tends to stay at rest. Life is that simple. If you do nothing, nothing happens. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who act. He shares the inspiring story of Nito Cobain, a man who came to America from the Middle East with just $50 in his pocket. He didn't sit around waiting for a handout. He took action. He set himself in motion, and today he is the CEO of a major company and sits on the board of numerous charities. He was proactive, not reactive. He reminds us that movement produces momentum. You don't have to have the whole journey figured out. You just have to take the first step. Of course, a single action isn't enough. True success requires commitment. Commitment is the pledge you make to yourself to follow through, especially when things get tough. Keith explains that commitment starts with the small things. He tells a story about his own life. He wanted to deepen his spiritual connection, so he made a commitment to wake up and pray for 15 minutes every single day. At first, it was hard. But he disciplined himself so consistently that it became a habit. Now, he automatically wakes up at 4:30 every morning to do so. He didn't wait to feel inspired, he honored his commitment regardless of how he felt. That is the essence of dedication. And commitment will always be tested. That's where persistence comes in. Persistence is the dogged determination to keep going, no matter the obstacles. The book shares the story of a man named Harold, who left high school to join the Navy. His dream was to give his children the college education he never had. He often worked multiple jobs, day and night, just to make ends meet. But he never gave up. He was persistent. He remained focused on his goal, and eventually, he saw his dream come to pass because he simply refused to quit. Persistence ultimately leads to the final gear in our engine, completion. It's not enough to start, you have to finish. And there is no story more powerful to illustrate this than that of John Stephen Akhwari, the marathon runner from Tanzania. During the 1968 Olympics, he fell and severely injured his knee. He was the last runner to cross the finish line, his leg bloodied and bandaged. A reporter asked him why he didn't just quit. His answer was unforgettable. He said, "My country did not send me here to start the race. They sent me to finish." He understood that the goal wasn't just to compete, it was to complete the task he had been given. So, we have our inner foundation and the engine of action. But what fuels this engine? What keeps it running on the long and often difficult road to success? This is where we find the mindsets that sustain us. It all starts with confidence. Confidence is the feeling of self-assurance, the trust you have in your abilities. But what if you don't feel confident? The book tells a wonderful and funny story about a soccer mom named Bobby. Her son's team was on a losing streak, and their morale was at an all-time low. One day, it was Bobby's turn to bring refreshments. She'd forgotten to buy the usual orange juice and only had grape juice. At halftime, the dejected kids came over for their drinks. An idea struck Bobby. She gathered them around and announced, "Today, I didn't bring you normal juice. I brought you super juice. Super juice is guaranteed to make you play better and feel better. Now drink up and go win this game." The kids, amused and intrigued, drank the purple juice, cheering "Here's to super juice." When they went back on the field, they were transformed. They were laughing, cheering, and playing with a newfound energy. And guess what? They won. Nothing had changed except their belief. They put their confidence in the super juice, and that confidence changed their performance. This confidence is often fueled by a burning desire. Desire is the intense wish for something, the force that propels you forward. The book shares the incredible story of a young girl named Terry. As a preteen, she was an athlete and a dancer, with dreams of doing it professionally. Then, A car accident broke her back and injured her spinal column, leaving her in a wheelchair. Doctors told her she would never walk again. For many, this would have been the end of the dream. But Terry's desire didn't go away. She learned to use her manual wheelchair, building immense upper body strength. She went to college in a big city where she knew there would be more opportunities. And there, she found a physically integrated dance company that hired dancers with and without disabilities. She tried out, and with her powerful desire and strong upper body, she won a spot in the troupe. Today, she is a professional dancer. Her story is proof that a desire strong enough can transcend any circumstance. When you have that kind of desire, it's hard not to feel enthusiasm. Keith loves this word. He points out that its Greek roots mean God or spirit within. Enthusiasm is an infectious energy that affects everyone around you. Think about cheerleaders at a sporting event. Their energy gets the crowd excited, and the crowd's excitement then fuels the athletes to perform their best. Enthusiasm is a sign that you believe in yourself and your mission, and when you're that convinced, other people can't help but be convinced too. And finally, the fuel that keeps all other fuels burning brightly is gratitude. Gratitude is simply thankfulness, an appreciation for the blessings in your life. Keith says any day above ground is a good day. The fact that you woke up this morning is reason enough to be thankful. He tells the story of a man named Paul whose business failed, leaving him on the verge of bankruptcy. He was bitter and defeated. But his wife convinced him to focus on what he still had: his health, a home, a car, and food on the table. It wasn't a defeat, it was an opportunity for a new journey. Paul learned to live with an attitude of gratitude, and it pulled him through the toughest time of his life. The book suggests a simple practice: every day, write down 5 things you're grateful for. You'll soon realize the list is endless. Now, with a solid foundation, a powerful engine, and high-quality fuel, you are ready for the journey of life. But as we all know, this journey is rarely a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected roadblocks. First, you will face challenges. The book teaches us not to fear challenges, but to see them as opportunities. A smooth road makes you complacent. It's the bumps that force you to grow stronger and learn new ways to solve problems. A challenge, as one of Keith's friends says, is just an opportunity turned upside down. Challenges often bring change. Change is the essence of life. Without it, we can't grow. Keith shares his own experience of being offered a promotion that required him to move from his hometown of Seattle to Atlanta. At first, he was filled with negative thoughts: leaving his family, making new friends, learning a new city. But then, he intentionally replaced those thoughts with positive ones: more money, more opportunity, a new climate to experience. He chose to embrace the change, and as a result, many new doors opened for him. Sometimes, change is forced upon us by a setback. A setback is an unanticipated delay or reversal. But Keith offers a powerful reframe: a setback is nothing but a setup for something better. Early in his career at IBM, he watched a colleague get promoted into the prestigious 100% club while he was overlooked for no clear reason. He was disheartened, but instead of dwelling on it, he asked himself what he could learn. He realized he needed to take charge of his own destiny. With the help of a new manager, he worked harder and smarter, and the very next year, he made it into the club himself. He learned that when life knocks you down, it doesn't knock you out unless you let it. Navigating this journey of challenges, changes, and setbacks requires a willingness to take a risk. To get in the game of life, you can't just be a spectator. You have to be willing to play. The biggest risk Keith ever took was leaving his stable, 14-year career at IBM to start his own business as a motivational speaker. He risked his money, his time, and his future. But he knew that if he didn't take that leap, he would never fulfill his ultimate goal of helping others. He says the way to reduce your gamble is by following the 3 P's: preparation, planning, and prayer. So, as we travel on this journey, we have our foundation, our engine, our fuel, and our understanding of the road. But what guides us? What acts as our compass, ensuring we stay on the right path? This is where we find our guiding principles. It all begins with purpose. Your purpose is your why. It's the reason you were put on this earth. Keith says there are 2 great moments in a person's life: the day you were born, and the day you discover why you were born. For years, he felt a void in his work until he realized his purpose was to help people understand the power of their attitude. Once he had that clarity, making decisions became easy. His purpose became the drum major leading the band, keeping everything in step and in rhythm. When you live with purpose, you must live with integrity. Integrity is a strict adherence to your values. It's personal honesty. People will remember you not for what you accomplished, but for the character you showed along the way. Keith tells a story of having to choose between attending his 20th high school reunion and honoring a business commitment that was scheduled on the new, rescheduled date. He desperately wanted to go to the reunion, but he knew that letting a client down would compromise his integrity. He missed the reunion, but he kept his promise, knowing that his word was more important than his own pleasure. A core component of a life of integrity is love. Love, in this context, is an unconditional commitment to others. It's about giving, not taking. It's the principle that drove Jim Redman onto the Olympic track to help his son. That act wasn't about winning, it was about serving. When you become more concerned with helping others achieve their goals, the book says, you find that your own goals start to fall into place. And finally, our compass is calibrated by wisdom. Wisdom isn't just about knowing a lot of things. As Keith learned from his spiritual mentors, wisdom is the ability to use what you know. Many people have head knowledge, but they don't know how to apply it to solve real-world problems. Wisdom is the key that unlocks the answers. The book makes a brilliant distinction. We often hear that knowledge is power, but a more correct statement would be knowledge combined with wisdom is power. Knowledge is the information. Wisdom is knowing how to use it. It's the spark that ignites the flame. And so, our journey through these 30 words comes to a close. From the inner foundation of attitude and belief, to the engine of action and commitment, fueled by confidence and gratitude, navigating the path of challenge and risk, and guided by the compass of purpose and wisdom. Each word is a tool, a piece of a larger puzzle. And when you put them all together, they create a blueprint for a life not just of success, but of meaning. A life where you don't just achieve your goals, but you become the person you were always meant to be. Commentary. As we reflect on Keith Harrell's message, what strikes me most is its profound simplicity. In a world that often sells us complex formulas and secret hacks for success, this book brings us back to the fundamentals. It doesn't offer a magic pill. Instead, it gives us a mirror. It asks us to look at the words we use, the beliefs we hold, and the attitude we choose every single morning. The true power of attitude is everything for success is that it's not a book you simply read, it's a book you live. It's designed to be a daily companion, a source of strength you can turn to when you're facing a challenge, feeling discouraged, or have lost your way. Each of the 30 words is a key, and on any given day, one of those keys is exactly the one you need to unlock the door in front of you. The stories are what make these principles come alive. We feel the agony and triumph of Derek Redmond. We smile at the cleverness of Bobby and her superjuice. We are moved by the persistence of Terry, the dancer who refused to let a wheelchair define her. These stories aren't just illustrations, they are proof. They show us that these aren't just nice ideas, they are timeless truths that work in the real world, for real people. So, how can you take these ideas and apply them to your life? right now, today. It's simpler than you think. Here are a few practical steps to get you started. First, pick just one word. Don't try to master all 30 at once. Look through the concepts we've discussed. Which one resonates with you the most right now? Is it action, because you feel stuck? Is it gratitude, because you've been focused on what's missing? Is it confidence, because you have a big challenge coming up? Just pick one. Second, find the affirmations associated with that word. The book provides I am statements for each principle, like I am proactive or I am an achiever. Write them down on a piece of paper or put them in your phone. Third, for the next 24 hours, make that word your theme. Repeat the affirmations to yourself throughout the day. Say them out loud when you can. The act of speaking them gives them power. And finally, just notice. Notice how focusing on that one single, powerful word begins to change your perspective. Notice how it influences the small choices you make. You'll be amazed at how a simple shift in your inner dialogue can create a ripple effect in your outer world. In the end, the most empowering lesson from this book is this: your circumstances do not define you. Your past does not define you. The opinions of others do not define you. The one thing that truly defines you is your attitude. It is the one thing you own completely, the one tool you can use to build any life you can imagine. It is your ultimate freedom. That was the book summary of Attitude is Everything for Success by Keith D. Harrell. We certainly touched on the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. You can see the layout, the major cities, the rivers, but you can't feel the warmth of the sun or smell the scent of the local food. The real magic happens when you visit the country yourself. If any of the stories or lessons we've talked about have sparked something in you, I encourage you to pick up a copy of the book. Reading it isn't just about learning information. It's an experience that can genuinely shift the way you see yourself and the world around you. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Your support helps us continue to bring these powerful ideas to more people. Let's keep growing together.